and welcome to episode 99 of the She Must Knit podcast. My name is Erin and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope you guys had a great week. We had quite the week, if you could guess from the title of this episode. We have a baby in the house. So yeah, that happened. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later for anyone who is interested in hearing about the arrival. I'm not going to say right now whether it was a boy or a girl. I know YouTube has this feature where you can add a little poll into your video. If I can figure that out, I might add one up right there and just see what you think. Do you think it was a boy or a girl? And then you will find out a little bit later. So yeah, because of that, there wasn't a whole lot of knitting this week. Also, we are still out of school. Everybody's still kind of staying in their homes. I hope you guys are doing well. But this week, Avery's school started their online learning program, and holy moly, has it been an adjustment with both having a new baby at home to take care of and helping her with her online work. She's just a little too young to do it completely independently, but there's still enough there that it's important that she does it. And we've been joined by a Mr. T. Of course, I don't have... Hopefully he will settle down. He's gracing us with the presence of his tail, but yes, we'll see if he lies down. But so yes, it's been quite the adjustment, just getting her to do her schoolwork. She does not like doing schoolwork at home. And then also having the other commitments that I have to take care of. So yeah, there hasn't been a lot of knitting, but I'm going to share with you what I have. What else do I have? Last episode was actually at the beginning of the month, and it completely escaped my mind to do the monthly winner for March, so we're going to do that. It also completely escaped my mind to do my monthly goals, so we're going to do that later. I want to obviously talk about the experience with our little baby arriving, and then I also want to go over some of the knits and projects that I did leading up to the arrival, and just let you know what I've been using, what I've found to be really useful, if there's any changes I would make to any of the projects. I have pictures that I'm going to be able to share with you, so I think that's going to be the plan for this episode. So before I forget, let's do the monthly winner. So if you are a new viewer, every month I like to take all the comments from any of my videos of that given month, as well as any purchases made in my shop of that given month. I pick one winner and they get a $20 coupon to use in my shop, just as my way of saying thank you for your support and your engagement. So I did the winner for March, and it is no cutesy name. So congratulations, you are the winner of the coupon prize for March. If you want to contact me either through a Ravelry or Instagram or through the contact form on my website, that would be great, and I can get that set up for you. So let's get started with what I worked on. We are going to start with my April Desert Vista Dye Works socks. This is the project that I took to the hospital with me, so I did actually get a pretty good amount of work on this, considering I haven't really touched them since, to be honest, partly because I've been busy with other things, partly just because I haven't been getting any like big snippets of time. It's just been like little bits, and there's been other things that have kind of, I don't know, I've just been enjoying working on more. But the last time I showed these to you last week, I think I had finished the cuff, and I think I had just started getting down into the stockinette portion. At the hospital, I was able to get all the way down into the shaping of the heel. So that's where I am now. This color, what was this color called? Oh, Zom Dragon. If you remember, it's very similar to the one that I did last month, which was the Sea Zom Buddy, but it has gray instead of purple, and it's charcoal instead of black. But I'm really enjoying how this is working up. It's kind of more, just a more muted version of that one. And I think I just finished the increases for the heel, so now I'm going to start working back and forth and going along the foot. These I am making for my mom, who has super tiny feet, so I don't think the feet are going to take very long to knit. Now hopefully I'm going to be able to get the sizing right, because I can't go see her. I can't have them try them on. I kind of calculated based on what I know of my size and how many rows I need to do before the toe, and how many rows, you know, is in an inch, and the difference between size 5 and a size 9 inch wise. I've kind of calculated what I think the amount of rows will be until I do the toe. I do have a sock ruler as well, so we'll just have to see. I mean, worst case scenario, I knit them, they need adjustments, I'll adjust them later. But this is where I am on the first sock. Usually once I get to the foot, it goes by really, really fast, and especially since these are such a small foot size, I think once I turn the heel, this sock will be done really, really quickly, and then I can start the second one. And we're still not quite at the middle of the month. It is Easter weekend. This weekend, Avery is very excited that we are able to be home for this. So yeah, we're not quite at the middle of the month. So I think I'm doing okay on those. So the next project that I worked on this week was my Cozy Memories blanket. I wanted to get my March DVD yarn in it. I'm trying to keep up with this blanket so that I don't get too far behind with any fingering weight yarn that I use. And I decided, you know what, the squares are nice and easy, they're pretty quick. I can usually do one over the course of a day if I have, you know, a decent amount of knitting time, or maybe 2 days if I don't. So I thought, let's get the square in. And of course, Mr. T, he is still on this blanket. This is where he decided to settle down. But I've been able to kind of pull enough of it from under his bottom that I can show you at least the square that I added. So this is the little section here. It's gonna look stretched out because like he's like right on it, but so this is where I started the section for 2020. These were my January socks, my February socks. This was the little newborn vertebrae that I made, and then here is oh my god, he's such a pain in the behind sometimes, but he's just so cute, so we'll deal with it, right? But this is the square for my March socks. So that is all in there. I'm all ready to put the next one in. That was fun to do. I'm happy to be working on this. I think I explained when I showed you the finished section for 2019 that I decided to pick up along this edge, and I was going to do about 6 squares across and then start working up this way. And so that's what I'm doing. I have about 2 more sections, 2 more squares to put on this side, and then I will start working up in groups of 6. So I was able to get that done this week as well. And then finally, the next project I have to show you is a new cast on. And I just realized that this is going to totally reveal the gender of the baby, but that's okay because we're going to talk about it anyway in a minute. I just really had the desire to cast on something new. I really wanted to try and use a pattern that I already had in my library, as I discussed last week. I have 2 squares on my bingo card that are each use 5 patterns that I already have, and so I really wanted to do that. And so I was thinking back to what projects I really enjoyed making for Avery when she was very little, and which projects I got a lot of use out of. And one of them was these kind of dresses that can go over, can be layered over clothing and work kind of, they start off a little bit long, and then as the baby grows, they become more like tops and stuff like that. I got a lot of use out of those with Avery. So I wanted to cast on one of those. I also wanted to use some stash yarn. And so I think I finally figured out a combination that I was happy with, and I cast on the other day. And actually the pattern I've decided to make is one that I did make for Avery. I actually did this as a test knit when it came out. And this is called Mei Lee, and it is by Cashmere Junkie. And it can be worn 2 ways. So this is the front, or actually it can be worn 2 ways. This is the front or the back, whatever you want. This is the plain side, and as you can see, it's just a simple kind of raglan design. You might notice I had to do a little mending there. There was a little hole, but simple raglan design, a seed stitch kind of waist, and then there's a whole bunch of increases so that it just flares out, and it's just this really pretty kind of oversized dress or tunic. This is the other side with the button band, and it again can be worn to the front or back. And then there's some seed stitch detailing here that kind of makes, I don't know if you'll be able to see with the light, that makes kind of like these arrow shapes. And then I think at the bottom, at the bottom hem, there's also some seed stitch design there to kind of mimic those diamond shapes. So it's just a really, really cute pattern. I already had it in my library, and if I was doing the smallest size, I knew I could get away with using like one skein of fingering yarn. So I had 2 skeins in my stash in mind. I kind of wanted to do something with one of my gradient skeins, or the skeins that I have one that has 2 colors in it that changes from 2 colors, and then I had some other ones that changed through multiple colors. I kind of wanted to use one of those because this is the perfect type of project for that. As you can see with the sleeves, you don't pick up after and keep knitting the sleeves. They're basically just bound off before you work the body. So if you're doing any kind of gradient yarn with this, the gradient isn't going to get disturbed when you go back to the sleeves. And Mr. T's on the move again. He's going after my needles. He has been very interesting this week. He's adjusting well so far, but we'll see. He hasn't gotten really close to the baby, but he's been checking him out here and there on his own time. So what I have for you started, this is the yarn that I chose to use, and this is a yarn by Shirley Bryant. I think I got this at the Frolic a number of years ago. It's just been waiting to be used in my stash. It's one of those cotton yarns that is made up of, I don't know if you can see that, but it's made up of like multiple strands. I think there's about 4 strands, individual strands, and then the colors slowly change as you work through the yarn. So this is cotton, and I think a lot of people tend to make shawls with this yarn. I don't know if that's what I intended to do. I have learned that I'm not really, there are certain shawls that I don't mind making, but I'm really not a shawl wearer, so I've kind of gotten out of making them because I don't wear them, and I don't know a lot of people that I could give them to. So I may have bought this with the intention of doing a shawl, who knows, but now it's going to be a little garment. So this is what I have so far. I've got the neckband cast on with the seed stitch, and I'm working through my raglan increases. And as you can see, I'm still in this section right now. That is just the blue. It hasn't started changing color yet. I did go down a needle size for this because it is cotton. I don't like, Mr. T's going after the yarn. Oh my goodness. I don't like loose cotton. So I did go down. I think the pattern calls for a 3.5, and I am using a 3mm just to kind of get a bit of a tighter gauge. And then I'm hoping that with washing and wearing, the gauge will kind of even out and it will just soften up. But this is what I have so far, and I am just going to keep plugging away at it. Now I wasn't sure. You can kind of see that here is the button band side. You can kind of see that diamond shape starting to form. Originally I wasn't sure if I was going to do the diamond patterning because I really just wanted this to be an easy, mindless knit. I did decide I'm going to do it on the top part of the garment so that it can be be worn front or back with a little bit of a design element, but I don't think I'm going to follow the diamond pattern on the hem. I'm just going to do a straight seed stitch on the hem. The pattern is written, it both has written instructions for the design and it has charted instructions. I am following the written instructions just because that is what my brain is finding easier at the moment. So that's everything that I was working on this week. As you can see, not a lot of knitting, but I still got a little bit in, which is nice. Hopefully with the school work and stuff, now that we've kind of caught up, we were a little bit behind last week because we didn't get to start on Monday. We didn't get home from the hospital until Sunday night, and Monday was not happening. So we have caught up now. Hopefully now going forward, it will just be easier, and she'll be, more used to doing it, and it will just go smoother, but we'll have to see how that goes. And hopefully, yeah, because of that, hopefully I'll get a little bit more knitting time in here and there. So now I think I'm going to do my goals update, and then after that we'll do the baby knits update. So goals update. For my March goals, I think I pretty much got all of them. My goals were to finish my March DVD socks, which I did, to finish the baby hat, that little Tidy Treasures Bear Ears baby hat. I finished that. Finish Miss Daisy, I finished that, and also finish the chenille blanket, which I did. For my April goals, I've tried to keep them somewhat low, but not, I mean, I want to challenge myself, but I also don't want to be totally unrealistic. So April DVD socks are obviously going to be the #1 goal. I also said finish the body on my Cumulus sweater. If you remember from last week, I only have about 5 inches to do to finish the body. I might actually be able to try it on now. Obviously, I'm not the size that I would be normally, but I don't have the giant belly in the way. At least I can still try it on. It's an oversized sweater, so I should be able to see how the fit is through the shoulders and maybe through the chest. So I might do that. I might put it on a long cord and just see how it's going and just see if 5 inches is going to be enough. But my goal for April is to finish the body of that sweater. And then also I want to continue to work on my loop bump that I was spinning. Originally I said finish it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, so I just want to keep working on it and then make progress on the Maylee dress. I don't know if I'll finish that either, but I just want to make progress on that. So those are going to be my April goals. And so now let's get into the baby knits update. So yeah, over the last couple of months, there's been lots of knits that I was making in preparation for baby arriving. And some of them I've already found very, very useful, and then other ones are useful in different ways. And then, you know, yeah, you never know until you have them and you're using them what works out and what doesn't, and if I would make any changes. So hopefully, I think what I might do at this point is scooch over a little bit, because I have a lot of pictures from these items, and then once we start talking about how the hospital stay went and everything, I'm probably going to have more pictures to put up as well. So I think I'm going to scooch over and then we'll continue. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the chenille blanket. So the Bernat blanket, the little mat that I made as a car seat blanket. We have been using that. I've been using that for all kinds of different things. I'm actually considering trying to find a place where I can buy it online. Going to the stores right now is a little crazy. I haven't gone shopping in about a week, almost 2 weeks, because they're getting to the point where there's lineups outside. Only a certain amount of people are being let in. I can't move around very well right now anyway, so I just don't see going into the stores. So I've been trying to find some Bernat blanket online, and I've actually considered ordering some to make another blanket. We used it at the hospital in the car seat to bring the baby home. I use it as when I'm on so right now I'm still on the couch. I haven't been able to sleep in a bed, so I'm on the couch. It's all going well. But I have this little stool that is the perfect size, like it's the perfect height when put next to the couch where I can change the baby. And this blanket is the perfect size for this stool as well, so I can put the baby on top of that, and it's just a nice soft kind of surface. I also use it when mostly I've been keeping the baby swaddled. She really likes being swaddled, but you gotta let them out sometimes, because otherwise, you know, they gotta move their limbs. So if I have her out and I'm holding her or feeding her and she's not swaddled, I've been using the blanket as just to keep her body warm, and it's just a little perfect size for that. It's just been really, really, really helpful. And I've already had to wash it because we had a little incident while changing the diaper, and it washed really well. It washed really quickly, but I was like, you know what? I really kind of want to have another one so that I don't have to wait. If I need to wash it, I don't have to wait for that one to be washed and dried before I can use it again. So I've been looking online for, sources that I can pick one up or just order some. There's some other yarn that I could probably order as well. So I want to make another one because they're so quick. So I think that has worked out really well if you're thinking of doing a baby gift or something like that. One ball of the Bernat blanket yarn, knit or crochet it, super useful. I've been really, really enjoying having that project. The next one, so let's talk about the baby knee socks. So if you remember when I made those, I commented that they were quite tiny and they're probably just going to be like newborn size. And I would say that's pretty accurate. I have some little pictures. Like I said, I'll pop pictures up when needed. But I have taken some pictures of her with them on, and if anything, I think because she does not have huge chunky legs, and I think this type of project, it's going to be really hard to know if they're going to fit all different types of babies. The top of them could be a little bit bigger to kind of fit around her thighs a little bit better. I do like that I did the opening on the bottom. That has worked out really well so that they still fit on her without being too big along the bottom. I think they're really cute for pictures. That's the one thing. So I took a picture with her in her baby vertebrae sweater and her little knee socks for like an announcement picture. And I think they look really, really cute. And because they were so fast to knit and they were such a fun little project to knit, I think they're worth it in that way. So if you were going to make them as a gift or make them for yourself, just as kind of like a prop, I think they work great. If you want them to be more practical, I think you'd have to tweak them a little bit. I'm still thinking of making a bigger size for later on with the sock part, but then I think I wouldn't do the knee shaping, and I might make the ribbing at the top a little bit bigger. So there are changes that I would make, but I am happy with the project as it is. Like I got the use out of it that I was hoping to get, which is just, you know, they're just kind of these cute, fun little things. So the next thing, the baby vertebrae. So even though it's the newborn sizing, and I did only make a few changes to make it a little bit bigger. It wasn't anything that was going to be much bigger. It's still way too big on her. So she will be able to wear it well past newborn stage, which is nice, but it doesn't really function as a sweater that I would use on her right now. However, I don't think she really needs one. I forgot, you forget how little, like when they're this little and they're basically just sleeping all day, you're really not dressing them, at least I'm not dressing them in all these cute little outfits. Like I find that comes a little bit later, maybe at 3 months. Right now she's basically, her wardrobe is like pajamas. She's in a sleeper or a long-sleeved bodysuit, and then she's wrapped up like a little burrito for most of the day. So there isn't really the need to have a tiny little sweater that fits her right now, other than, like I said with the knee socks, some cute pictures. So I'm really happy with the pictures that I got with the vertebrae and the knee socks, but then I think I'm just going to be putting the sweater aside for a little bit until she gets a little bit bigger, once we start going out for walks maybe, because right now she just doesn't need to wear a little sweater. She's got sleepers and she's got her swaddles. So, and then the last thing, the baby hats. So the two little newborn baby hats that I made for the gender, though, I made a little boy hat and a little girl hat. She did wear the little girl hat home from the hospital, and I think the circumference fit her really, really well, but the length I think needs another maybe ½ inch. That just kind of covers like the tops of her ears unless I really pull it down. And like I said, she's not huge. She's not the tiniest baby, but she's also not like this gigantic baby either. So I think I would make a note in my project page that if I was going to make these again for maybe a gift or something, to add maybe a ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch to the length, just to make sure that there's enough there for different sized and shaped heads. But otherwise, I think it's a really, really cute project. It was a really nice way to use up some leftover sock yarn, and I am happy to have that. Now, I did also make those octopus for the sets as well. And I've got her little octopus over near her baby station, and I do let her touch it and stuff while if she's awake a little bit. She's really not awake all that often, but that has yet to come. Like, she hasn't fully got to where she will like hold and touch and play with the little octopus. So, but I am happy to have it. So I think that's all the projects that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, now we are going to talk about how the hospital stay went and how everything kind of came to be. So last week I mentioned that I was hoping to have one more week to talk to you before the baby arrived. I was actually expecting to go into the hospital this weekend, but I had my final OB appointment last Thursday, so it would have been April the 2nd, and she decided she wanted me to go into the hospital to get another ultrasound and a non-stress test, and there was some other kind of test that she wanted me to do. I think just because, again, the size of my stomach was bigger than what I was week-wise, and just the excess fluid. So if you have too little fluid, there's a name for that, and if you have too much fluid, there's a name for that, and both have their own set of risks. So she wanted me to go in, ultrasound, non-stress test, get everything checked out. And my appointment was in the morning. And it's funny because when I was talking to her and I was like, should my husband come with me? Because if you're, well, everybody's following what's going on in the world right now, but hospitals have a lot of restrictions right now. There's no guests. It's basically just, if you have an appointment, it's just you. But I was just like, should Dennis go with me? Because I was like, the last time this happened with Avery, I went in, it was the same thing. I went in prior to her due date just for an ultrasound. I think they couldn't figure out where in my stomach she was, like if she was head down or not. So I had to go to the hospital, get an ultrasound, get a non-stress test. And they found out that she was basically like the shape of a question mark with her umbilical cord hanging down, which is like a big no-no. And they almost wanted me to be admitted that day, C-section, get her out, because if I went into labor and the cord came out first, it could be very dangerous. So having that in my memory, I was like, should Dennis come with me just in case something happens? And she's like, no, you drove yourself here, you should be fine, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. So I went on my own in the morning to my appointment, and at first everything seemed to be going fine. I had the non-stress test. She was not cooperative. It took a little longer than normal to get all the information that they needed in one block. They need I think they need a total of 15-20 minutes of information. So I was sitting there for a while. They gave me a popsicle. I got to watch some HD TV, so that was nice and relaxing. I had the ultrasound, and then I basically just had to wait around for the results. And at first they were like, oh yeah, the non-stress test looks good, everything looks good. We'll just have the doctor see you, and then you should be good to go. So I went into the waiting room, and I was just sitting there. Dennis sent me a message. He's like, am I needed, or is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, everything. I think it's going to be okay. And then the doctor came to see me, and I basically sent Dennis a message. I was like, nope, there's an issue, we might need to start to get the ball rolling. Call your friend who's going to watch Avery. There may be an issue. So basically what they found on the ultrasound was that with the placenta, normally the flow kind of goes around in a circle. And my flow was backtracking. And that can be a sign that the placenta is saying, you know what, I'm tired, I'm done, my job is going to be over soon. And that could be really, really dangerous, obviously, because the baby needs the placenta to be functioning to stay alive. So the doctor was like, we want to admit you today. So I was like, okay, they let me leave the hospital to come home. I had the car to get our stuff, to get all organized, to drop Avery off where she was staying, and then come back. So within about an hour, Dennis and I were all packed. We were all packed and everything to go anyway, but within about an hour, we were back at the hospital, and we were admitted, and we just had to wait around for an opening because they wanted to do a C-section on her to get her out too. So yeah, Avery, same thing with Avery. I had a nice, calm, low drama pregnancy, and then boom, something at the end, and same thing with this one. So by 4:38 that she was done, she was out. That is her official birth time. And when she came out, everything was good. She just had what they call a wet lung, which is common with C-sections. They get a little more extra liquid sometimes. So she had to go to the NICU for a little bit. She got put on a little machine. And Dennis and I were basically on lockdown in our hospital room. So like I mentioned before, once we were in, we could not leave, and it was fine. So it was actually really, really nice because she was in the NICU overnight. So I was able to just relax and recover in the bed with things being brought to me, and medicine being brought to me, and everything being changed. The nurses were doing everything. I was able to do that for one full night without the added just the addition of having to I wouldn't have been able to get up. Dennis would have had to have brought her to me and done all that stuff all night. So it was nice, I think, for both of us to have one night where we could just kind of breathe. And then she was brought to us in the morning, 9 o'clock the next morning. Everything was good. All the stuff with her, she was perfectly fine. So that's when we were able to start, enjoying her and taking care of her and stuff like that. So that was Saturday. So she was born on the Friday. The Saturday we had her all day. They come in, they do all the tests and stuff. And then it was just Sunday. So Sunday was a little bit frustrating because we were basically told in the morning that it looked like we were good to be discharged. The doctor that was taking care of me came in, gave me all my information, said the papers are ready. You just have to wait for the pediatric doctor to come in, and I think she had to do a little test on her or something, but we had to wait for the pediatric doctor. And so this was in the morning, and the whole afternoon was ticking by, ticking by. We thought, okay, maybe by 1 o'clock we'd be out, and then maybe by 4 o'clock we'd be out, and then 6 o'clock came, and the nurse kept coming in saying, she's coming, she's coming. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now in the NICU and in other areas that she has to do first. So I understand that, but still, because you can't go anywhere, we were stuck in the room. So we were in that room basically all Sunday with nothing, no purpose, nothing to do. So finally she came around 7 o'clock, and it was she was in the room for 10 minutes just to let us know what we needed to do and how the test results were and blah, blah, blah. And then we were able to go. But we got home, I think, around 8 o'clock maybe Sunday night. And since then, it's just been, adjusting. As a family, Dennis went to pick Avery up from his friends, and she came home. I have a little video of her meeting the baby for the first time. We did not call her and tell her what the baby was from the hospital. We wanted her to see for herself. That was one of the things I was really looking forward to before this whole virus thing, was that she was going to be able to come to the hospital and meet the baby in person. So we just waited until we were home for her to do that. So I have a little video of that I might put at the end. I have a little video of Mr. T checking her out for the first time. I might put that at the end. But otherwise, hopefully I've been putting up some pictures here. And yeah, that's how the week has gone. That's how everything went. And overall, we are doing well. Just, like I said, adjusting, and I'm just recovering. And in light of not being able to, we're not supposed to go anywhere, I don't think I would be going anywhere anyway. So it's worked out that way. And also, we don't have people coming to the house constantly to visit with her. We've been able to enjoy a nice, quiet family time while we get used to a new normal. Now, I will say that we are being spoiled right now. She basically sleeps all day. She wakes up, she's hungry, we feed her, she goes back to sleep for another couple hours, she wakes up, she's hungry, we feed her, she's awake for maybe 20 minutes where she's looking around. So it's been really nice that way, that it's been pretty low stress. I know that will change, but at least for now it's made the adjustment. It's made it just much easier. I can, we can spend time with Avery, I can help her with her projects and her homework, and not try to juggle both at the same time. So I think that's all I have to say for now. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. If you celebrate Easter, I hope you have a wonderful Easter weekend in whatever way you've decided to celebrate it without being able to, visit and spend time with, your larger family. So again, going forward, I don't think I'm going to be able to promise a regular schedule for uploads. It all depends on how much knitting and other projects I'm able to work on in the time. So it might be a week, it might be 2 weeks. Hopefully it's not much longer than that. But otherwise, I hope you have a great weekend. And yeah, we will talk to you soon. Hi, Pumpkin. Have you been waiting? What's it look like? Why don't you lift the blanket?
I go?
Lift the blanket and see.
I go?
Yep.
What is it, Avery?
A girl. I wanted. Oh, cute. Are you videotaping this?
Yes.